Oh, good morning. I hope everybody can hear me. And Monday morning, first day of the week. As I said I think, a lot of the sessions already, the first 5 minutes, it's just for us to say hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. And the call will actually start sort of 5 minutes in, 5 minutes-ish in. So I'm not late, April. And I hope everybody had a nice weekend. What are you supposed to do here? Well, Shreya, if you have a question, mark it as a question. And you can do that where you write your message. You'll see a little drop down menu. And if you click on that, you can mark your question as a question. So let me do that for you. You see how it's now got a big bright question mark next to it? The reason you do that is so I can notice that you've asked a question. If the call gets busy, I'll try to answer everybody's questions, but it's a lot easier for me if you mark them as a question. Okay, so I will answer you, and I will say at Shreya, yep, that's Shreya. First, we will say hi, then we will look at the vocabulary challenge from last week. Now, if you don't know what the vocabulary challenge is, then you'll learn today, and maybe you can get involved next week. Okay, so I'll start screen sharing now. Bear with me a second. Challenge. If there are no more questions, the vocab challenge. Very important that you know where it is first. It's on the forum, but it's not on the forum in the main pages. It's in the groups. So if you want to take part in the vocabulary challenge, there's one every week, and just follow the instructions. You'll find under groups, you'll find a topic called vocabulary challenge with a number. So as you can see, we've done 46 so far, not quite a year's worth, but nearly. And then you'll find the actual challenge under the link. You'll find how to log in, and you'll also see in the calendar that it's only on from Tuesday to Thursday. So you have to get your answers in by Thursday. Okay, but a few of us took part, and everybody did very well. It was slightly different this week. It was more definitions this week. So April and Shiny, Landai, Monique, Julie and Hazel, all of you very well done for taking part. So before I give you the actual answers, any questions about the challenge? Shiny, you mentioned something that some of the words have more than one answer. Yeah, and that's the case with many English words. There's more than one definition. Okay, but only one definition would have fitted each of those questions. Okay, so really, yes, there's always going to be more than one definition in many English words, but context is king, as I always say to you. You have to look at the context and which one fits. So for the one you struggled with, and there were a few with more than one meaning, but the one you struggled with, unfortunately, has a slightly rude answer as well, but you should know me better by now. Only one of the actual answers fitted the word. Okay, let me just have a look at the webinar. Bear with me a second. Somebody's asked me a question and I can't see it clearly, so hang on a second. Whoop, no. That's odd. Okay, So I see that blue broadcast with this laptop, Lynn. Oh, April. Okay. I don't know. I don't know why you're seeing that. It might be that you need to clear the cache on your laptop. But I should be the only one who is blue because I'm presenting. Shiny shouldn't be in blue. Okay. You think April got it right? Yeah, most of you got it right, actually. Most of you got it right. So well done. It wasn't difficult, and there's no cheating in this particular challenge. You can Google your answers. You can check your answers. You can use a dictionary. I don't mind. It's not a test. Okay. So don't worry about, some people ask me, is it okay to use a dictionary? Yes, of course it is. That's what you would do in real life. It's not a test. It's a challenge. Okay. Okay. So let's have a look at the actual answers. First of all, we need to look at the questions, of course. So the questions were slightly different, as I say. Normally we do a picture, but this week we did definitions. So I gave you a word, and you had to guess or work out the correct definition for each word. And the words were a little tricky, I think. Okay. So the first one was ricer. Now, as learners, you probably saw the word rice and thought, well, it must be something to do with cooking rice or someone who grows rice. But it isn't. It's neither of those things. It's basically, it looks like a sieve, or it looks like a colander, which we'll come to later. And it forces cooked potatoes through it in order to mash them. Now, when you're cooking potatoes, you can do mashed potatoes with a masher, which involves a lot of hard work from your shoulder and your arm. Or you can use a ricer, and a lot of professional chefs use a ricer. Now, here's a picture of a ricer. Okay, you put the potatoes into the sort of colander sieve part, and there's a handle, and there's a plate, a metal plate, and as you push the handle down, the metal plate forces the potatoes through the little holes until you end up with these riced potatoes, which are like mashed potatoes. Okay. So that, if you all found a picture of it, and I do recommend for some of these challenges, pictures are always best. This will give you an idea of what a ricer is. And it has nothing to do with rice. I'm so sorry. I'm not really. I found it quite funny. But yes, it's not even a trick word. It's just a word that's come about, I suppose, because when the potato comes out, it comes out in little white pieces, maybe looks a little bit like rice. Okay, April, yes, I've got you now. Yes, I wrote good morning, afternoon, evening, hello. I see what you mean. I thought you meant it was blue on Shiny's name. You told me Shiny was showing up blue the other week. Yes, that's the highlighted message. When you're presenting, April, you'll be able to do that too. Okay, is that clear now, April? Okay, let me clear the message then, so as not to that blue broadcast with this laptop. Yeah, sorry, I did misunderstand you. Not the way you wrote it though, just me. Just me. It's Monday morning. Okay, the next word that we had was dredger. And again, dredger, now ricer only has one meaning. As far as I can find out, there's no ulterior motive. It's just got that word rice in it that can be confusing. Dredger, that is confusing because a dredger can be more than one kind of dredger, one of which is used in the kitchen, the other one not used in the kitchen. Okay. So a dredger, nothing to do with frying, nothing to do with tea. You might, if you'd just searched for the term dredger, you might have come across these guys. Did any of you see these dredgers? And that would be quite difficult to figure out what's that got to do with kitchen utensils. These dredgers are used literally to dredge riverbeds and bays, anywhere that might get silted up. Okay. But none of the definitions given had anything to do with rivers or removing silt from water. So you can rule out these dredgers, and we'll go on to this kind of dredger. And I've got one in my kitchen cupboard. It's also called a flour shaker. Rima, yeah, Marco, you've just written a strong grip is important. When you're using a ricer, yes, you need a strong grip because you're really forcing the cooked, and you need well cooked potatoes as well. Don't do it with half cooked potatoes. It would be very difficult. But anyhow, back to the dredger. Now, in these dredgers, you can put flour in, and sometimes people put sugar in. Okay. And if you notice here, it's got flour shaker dredger. So it's a flour shaker or a flour dredger. So well done, everybody. A sugar or flour holder with fine holes in its lid. Question. What would you want such a thing for? Why would you want a dredger? Any ideas? Has anybody ever used one? So has anyone ever used a dredger? Or has anyone got a dredger in the kitchen? Okay, what do you call a person who grows rice? Well, somebody who owns it, yeah, just a rice farmer. Okay, a rice farmer. They work in the paddy. Remember when we did our sessions on growing rice, April? We went through the vocabulary then. You work in the paddy fields when you're growing rice, but a rice farmer. Yes, well done, Shiny. A farmer. Nobody's actually got a dredger. Okay, well, it's very useful if you're making pastry or bread, and you basically use the dredger to put a thin layer of flour on the board. And it's actually the verb. We don't use the verb to dredge here. Okay, to dredge means if you dredge something, it goes to the river terminology. Okay. So if you said I dredged the flour, we wouldn't use that. It is basically to clean out the bed of a harbour or river by scooping out mud, weeds and rubbish with a dredge. So you couldn't use the verb to dredge when you're using the flour dredger, when you're using the flour shaker. So as a verb, you'd use to flour. Okay. And that's where English can get really confusing, I know. So you have to just accept it and understand that when you use a dredger in the kitchen, you can use it to flour a baking tin or a work surface. So the verb is to flour, not to dredge. And there are quite a few English words where this sort of thing happens. So you think it's a dredger, it must dredge. It doesn't. Context and form and a little bit of confusion always rules when it comes to English vocabulary. Okay? Hi Mars, nice to see you. Yes, April, you can use a sieve. Of course you can, but a dredger gives you a bit more control and you can keep the flour in the dredger. Okay, and then it's there to be used anytime you want to flour a board or when you want to flour a tin. Apologies to the guys here. This is all kitchen vocabulary today. But some of you might like cooking. My husband likes cooking. I don't know if he knows what a dredger is for though, because he doesn't bake. Okay, the next word we had was coddler, a coddler. Okay, and the choices were, is it a tea towel holder, a utensil for cooking eggs, or a child just a bit older than a toddler? which really it should be, shouldn't it? But it isn't. It was actually a utensil for cooking eggs, an egg coddler. The only place you'd really find these nowadays is in hotels, where they cook your eggs and they have them out keeping warm. Okay, so I wouldn't expect to find it in a kitchen, a normal kitchen. I haven't got an egg coddler, okay, but this is what they look like. They're little, sometimes they can be quite pretty, little pots where you put the egg in, and then you put the egg into boiling water. You put the pot into boiling water, and when you pull it out, there it is, nicely cooked, almost like poached, but not actually touching the water, so it doesn't get watery. Okay, but cooked at a nice even temperature and not fatty, no butter, no frying involved. Okay, so quite healthy. Okay, so dredger is noun, yes. Julie, don't forget to mark your questions. Okay, so I see them. I missed that one. Dredger is a noun, yes. And to dredge is the verb, but has nothing to do with the flour dredger. Okay, that is to flour. Okay. Okay, so let's get back to our egg coddler. And as I say, something that you might find in a very old-fashioned kitchen, a Victorian kitchen, but also still used in hotels. Okay, the first place you'd see it. Now, to coddle, the verb to coddle can actually mean something else. So to coddle something can mean to cook the egg. So you can coddle in an egg coddler, but you can also coddle somebody if you treat them in a very overprotective way. And we have this lovely word called mommy coddled, to mommy coddle somebody. And that means basically when you overprotect your children, if you're a mother especially, and you overprotect a child, you mommy coddle them. Okay, so some nice verbs, some nice words coming out here. I'll write it up so you can look it up in the dictionary. To mommy coddle somebody. Okay, but to coddle can mean to cook an egg in this way, in this pan of water. It can also mean to overprotect someone. So again, the words have more than one meaning. The context is what you have to work with. You need to know the context. Okay? Yeah, it is only mommy coddle. I've never heard mummy coddle. I've only ever heard it as mommy coddle. Okay? Okay, April's just asked, you break the egg. Yes, you break the egg into the coddler. Otherwise, you might as well just boil the egg. Because if you put the egg in its shell into the boiling water, that becomes a boiled egg, not a coddled egg. So the idea is you break the egg into the little pot, then you screw on the lid and you put it into the boiling water, and it cooks, and it makes sure that the egg stays just below boiling temperature. Okay, and so it cooks quite slowly. I think you need about 6 to 8 minutes to coddle an egg, whereas you can boil an egg in 4 minutes because it's directly in the water. But I've never done it myself. I like poached egg. Now, a poached egg, you break the egg directly into the water. And poached eggs are really difficult to get right. You can really make a mess with the poached egg. But I love poached eggs. So when I go and have full English breakfast in a hotel or bed and breakfast, they always say, how would you like your eggs? And I say poached. And you can see they go a little pale because poaching eggs is a skill. So that's why I get other people to do it for me. Okay. You thought it's the same as a boiled egg. Oh no, Marco, no. Eggs are amazing things. I think we covered a few of the verbs and the ways of cooking them in one of our sessions. You can fry them, scramble them, poach them, you can coddle them, you can do them over easy. There's so many. You can make omelettes with them. So, they're wonderful. They're the best fast food out there. If you don't know how to cook an egg, well, shame on you. You need to learn. They're brilliant. I love eggs. Okay, so let's get back to our text. A Bain-Marie, yeah, or a Bain-Marie. I don't know whether I tend to say Bain-Marie, but a lot of people use the French, the Bain-Marie. And you'll find a lot of French words in cooking. Okay, so a Bain-Marie is just, or a Bain-Marie is just a container, and you put hot water into the container and it keeps it hot. And then you can use it for slow cooking or for keeping things warm. Okay, so a Bain-Marie or a Bain-Marie is another cooking utensil. Again, something you'd normally find in professional kitchens, in hotel kitchens. But you can make a Bain-Marie if you want to do that kind of cooking. You can make one quite simply at home. Just have a big metal, maybe a baking tray, put water in it, heat it up, stick whatever you want into it to keep it hot or to cook it slowly. Okay, so in this one we had 3 different definitions: a water bath to ensure slow cooking, a type of whisk, a very shallow frying pan. Well, a bain-marie is a water bath to ensure slow cooking. Okay, so this is how you would use a bain-marie. You'd have your source of heat, you'd have your container of water, and then you'd have your extra container which has the food in it, and you put that into the hot water. Okay, quite often suspended, so it's not touching the heat. Okay, the idea is the water keeps it hot, not the flame or the oven hob. Okay, so things cook slowly or things are kept nice and warm without the risk of burning them. That's the idea of a bain-marie. Okay. Okay, I can see a couple of questions coming up. Bear with me a second whilst I check them. Okay, Marco, not a poached egg. It's got nothing to do with nothing to do with pooches. A poached egg, Poached. A poached egg. Okay, POA. Don't forget you can correct your sentences by using the edit button, the little pencil. Just hover your mouse over your message and you can click on the little pencil and you can edit any spelling mistakes or anything you want to remember for next time or for the replay so it looks correct. I can edit it. Oh, be warned, I can edit it for you as well. So let me do that. And don't forget your articles. Yeah. So not poached egg, a poached egg. Okay. Okay, let's move on then. The next one was a spatula. Okay. Now, we've got 3 definitions again. Spatula, a junior chef. Do you work as a spatula in the kitchen? No. A long flat blade, a funnel, and the answer, everybody got this one right, I think, a long flat blade. Okay. So when you have a long flat blade, it can be different kinds of spatula. Okay, it's a very generic thing, isn't it? A long flat blade. What kind of long flat blade? And form and function again. This is the kind of spatula I used to love as a child. Do anybody know what this spatula is used for? Strange pronunciation, yes. You can use a bain-marie to melt chocolate, absolutely. Because if you try to melt chocolate directly onto a flame, you're likely to burn it. Okay, so back to spatula. This spatula was my favourite because you can use it to clean the sides of the bowl when your mother's making cakes. And if you're very lucky, you get the bowl and the spatula at the end and you get to eat the cake, the raw cake mixture. It's probably really unhealthy. But that's one kind of spatula, okay? There's another kind, which is this kind of spatula. Okay, and this is the kind of spatula you might use when you're frying eggs, for example, and you want them over easy. So you use the spatula to flip the egg. You can use a spatula to flip burgers. Okay, so both used in cooking, but there's different kinds of spatula. This is my favorite because of the cake mixture. I love raw cake mixture. For dough, yes, for dough, for cake mixture, for cleaning out the bowl. Oh, okay. Okay, so if there are no questions, we'll move on. And the next one, it's another one. If you notice, there's a lot of French words. I've always said to you, in cooking, we've borrowed a lot from the French because they're very good at cooking. So the next one's also a French word. It's a word that's come from the French. And again, you've got that little thing, do I pronounce it the way a French person would pronounce it or not? So that would give you the choice of to pronounce the T or not. Now, a lot of people say cruet. Okay, cruet. Some people say cruet. It's a little pretentious to call it a cruet, but you can do if you want to, because it's from the French. So we'll call it cruet. Okay, and a cruet, is it a pie crust, a garlic press, or a small container for salt, pepper, etc.? Okay, well, those of you who did the challenge will know that it is a small container for salt, pepper, etc. That etc. means you can have more than one thing in a cruet. And we often talk about cruet sets. Yeah, a cruet set. Again, it's something you're more likely to find in a hotel, or if you're unlucky and you get married, you might be given one of these because for some reason they're very common wedding present gifts. Okay, so when you get married, you end up maybe with 3 toasters and 4 cruet sets. If you're really unlucky. So, let me get rid of my spatulas. And here we have a cruet set, a nice old-fashioned one. Okay, found it on Pinterest. This is an antique cruet set, so they've been around a long time, and it's a set because it's usually on a base. Yeah, and it might be more modern than this, but it would be on a tray of some sort, maybe with a handle, maybe not, but all kept together as a set. Yeah. And then you'd have your salt and pepper, and you'd also have other containers, maybe for sauces, for other condiments. And if you remember, we've covered condiments in previous sessions. What makes a condiment a condiment? Things that are used to enhance the flavour of food. So this one looks like it's a cruet set with salt, pepper, and then a bottle for oil and a bottle for vinegar. So you could maybe make a salad dressing. And you can see it all goes together in a nice little set. And these are probably silver. As I say, these are antique. But you can get reproduction ones. As I say, if you're very unlucky and you get married, you might end up with 4 of these in your wedding present. For Maggie, maybe for Maggie, yes. If you're into such things. Shreya, yes. Again, don't forget to mark your questions as a question. They not are they being used in hotel? Are they used in hotels? Okay, so yes, they are used in hotels and in cafes. Sometimes you'll find them, and it's not quite as nice because it would just be a little bowl with a load of sachets in it. That's not really a cruet set. Okay, that's just condiments. A cruet set is normally much finer. So in upmarket hotels, if you like, you might find they bring you a cruet set to the table. Okay, but yes, they are used in hotels. Are they being used means now. Yeah. Are you using that cruet set, or can I have it? But are they used in hotels regularly? Okay, so yes, they are. Um, Yes, next for liquid, for any a bottle would be used for liquid, of course. Maybe some sauce, that kind of thing. Tomato sauce that could go in the cruet set too. But generally, I think the picture that I was sharing would be oil, vinegar, salt, pepper. Okay, that's the sort of um, standard use, if you like, for such things. Okay. Okay, the next one we got to something again from the French. Bouquet garni, bouquet garni, bouquet garni, bouquet garni. I've heard both being pronounced that way. Okay. Hyacinth bouquet, yes. Mrs. Bucket. Absolutely. And again, it's from the French. Because we take a lot of French words in English when it comes to cooking. And a bouquet garni is literally, it's like a bouquet, but it's for cooking. Okay. So you'd have it. This is what a bouquet garni is. It's a garnish of herbs tied together. And I think what you can see here is you can see some rosemary, lemongrass, parsley, some thyme and a bay leaf all tied together, and you just pop it into your stew or your soup, and then you pull it out when it's been cooked. Okay, so a bunch of mixed herbs. Okay, mixed herbs. So not parsley used as a garnish, that's just a garnish. Not edible flowers, but a bunch of mixed herbs all tied together in order to flavour the food. So that's a typical bouquet garni. You can actually get bouquet garni that look like tea bags. Okay, and I'll tell you a little story about that. A bouquet garni tea bag. Okay, they can look unusual. Okay, so you can make a little bag for a bouquet garni that looks really nice, sort of like this. Okay, so there's a beautiful little bouquet garni, and you can put that into your cooking, and it's much easier to fish it out. However, some idiots make bouquet garni that look like this. Now, you tell me what that looks like. Does it look like a bunch of herbs? Not really. And the problem with them looking like this is when you go out for a meal with your mother, and they bring the soup, and she finds one of these in her soup, and she calls the waitress over and she goes, "There's a tea bag in my soup." And you have to go, "Mum, no, it's not. It's the herbs. It's not a tea bag." Very embarrassing moment. And the waitress was highly amused. So bouquet garni can come in many different forms, but it's generally just mixed herbs together, used to flavour a stew or a soup. Okay, so one of my favourite childhood memories is that one. I have to say, I loved it. There's a tea bag in my soup. No, Mum, there isn't. Honestly. um, You can get it dried and not pulvered, powdered. You can get it dried and powdered too. Yes, you can. But by then it tends to be called mixed herbs. The bouquet garni is more, they're actually together, they're bound together, either tied or in a bag. Okay. Otherwise, it's just, if you just sprinkle them into your soup, then it's just mixed herbs. Okay, April? Yes, Marco, to fish it out. If you've got something in a liquid that isn't meant to be there, then you fish it out. Okay. If you fall in the water, you might want somebody to come and fish you out. Okay, to fish something out. and it has to be in liquid. I suppose that's where the fish comes from. But yes, there was this tea bag in my mind, and it shouldn't have been there. They did apologise. They said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. The chef should have fished that out before he served it." But these things happen. Okay. But it was funny. I have to say, it was very amusing. Okay, the next one, my favourite, a decanter. Now, the questions were, the possible answers were the person who serves food from a large container to individual plates, a container for wine, or a type of preserve jar. And of course, a decanter, those of you who got it right, and I think everybody got this one right, a decanter is specially for wine, and again, form and function. You can get lots of different kinds of decanters. And generally, you take the wine from the bottle and you decant it, to decant. Okay? So you can ask for your wine to be decanted. Normally, it's only done for very fine wine or old wine to stop any dregs from getting into the wine that you're going to serve. And what you do is you gradually pour the wine or other liquid, could be port, for example, generally alcohol, and you take it from one container into another to separate any sediment. So if you've ever had old wine or old port, by the time you get to the bottom of the bottle, you might have sediment, especially the finer older wines. Okay, so the idea is you take it from this bottle and you put it into normally some fancy kind of bottle. I've got a decanter like this at home. I haven't got a funnel like that, but I've got something similar. This is meant to aerate the wine quickly, but to be honest, you can do it in a food blender if you're so inclined. Just pour the wine into a food blender, whoosh it around for about 2 minutes, serve it. It's like it's been breathing for an hour. You heard that here first. Okay, little trick of the trade. Then you've got this kind of shape. You've got this kind of shape. They're all decanters. Okay, they're all the same. So you pour it from one container into another container. Okay. Okay, no questions. Good, good, good. Let's move on. Now, this one got some consternation from Monique. It's a shame she's not here. And she won Shiny. Shiny, be careful, Shiny. And yes, the word faggot. Now, this is very British English, okay? This is extremely British English. Faggots in the UK, and let's have a look again at the question, the possible answers. A mixed meat risole including liver, a tied bunch of herbs, a floor mop. And if you didn't know what a faggot was, then any of them could be the right answer. But the right answer is a mixed meat risole, including liver. And it is very British English. And you can see here, very famous thing. I've never seen it anywhere apart from the UK. Never. Mr. Brain's faggots in a rich West Country sauce. Okay, take the lid out, stick it in the oven, and you've got 4 faggots. They're like very large meatballs, but to be a faggot, you have to have liver in it. To be honest, I can't stand them. They're always got gristle and fat and bleh, horrible things, but some people love them. So who am I to say don't try them? If you want such thing, try it next time you're in the UK. Say, have you got faggots on the menu? Now, the warning from Monique was it can mean it can be used usually in America, but it's also used in Britain to describe someone who's gay. And if you call somebody a faggot, it's not a very nice thing to say, although I know gay people who call each other faggots. I guess that's different. They're doing it in an amusing way. So it can be an unfortunate one in America. Don't go into a restaurant in America and order faggots, okay? But in the UK, generally, we know it means meatballs. All right? A risole is a type, again, a risole is a word we use in cooking to say something's been put, sort of joined together, if you like, compressed. Now, it can be a meat risole, is meat and spices compressed together, usually coated, but just generally means sort of forced together like a croquette. Okay, so a rissole can be a kind of meat, like a burger almost, and you can get different kinds of rissoles. Okay. And it's British. Okay, it is British. It's a British word, a rissole. You can also get potato rissoles, to be honest, when they've been pushed together and made into like potato cakes and fried. Okay. Generally, it means a meaty mixture, but to be a faggot, a rissole has to contain liver, and then it turns from a rissole into a faggot. Okay. Okay, April's asked in a blender. Yes, in a blender. The wine, to aerate wine, yes. Just stick it in a blender, just 2 seconds, really quickly, and then you've got aerated wine. That's all it does. It just aerates the wine. Try it. Try it next time you have a bottle of wine and you haven't had time to open it before you wanted to drink it, because it should be done with red wine only. And make sure that your blender is very, very clean. No smell of garlic in it, etc. Otherwise, you'll end up with garlicky smelling wine. But yeah, as you can see here, faggot, a gay man, faggot, um, sticks of wood tied together and used as fuel for a fire. Okay, so a faggot of wood, and here down here, a ball of meat mixed with bread and herbs, fried or cooked in sauce. Okay, so 3 different meanings, but of course, the meaning that we wanted was here a mixed meat rissole, including liver. Okay, then we got to one. Now, those of you who've been who follow the recipes on the English website, learnenglish.de website, you should have come across the colander before, because we use a colander to strain things. Okay, so here we've got again the 3 choices: a large sieve used to strain water from food, a type of cauliflower, a knife used for boning. Well, a colander, and as I say, those of you who know how colanders from the recipes, then you should have got this one without even looking it up. Okay, so a colander is, and I wouldn't say like a sieve, but it's very difficult to sort of, it's a bowl with holes in it. And what you do is you can use it for anything that you've been boiling. You can strain the water from anything, from rice, from potatoes, from carrots. And the idea is you put everything into here from your pan, from your saucepan, and the water drains out, leaving behind just the food. Okay, so that is a colander. Now, if you were to search colander on the web, then you might also find what people use colanders for is for dressing up. And I do like this one. For some reason, people have been wearing colanders on the head and posting it online. So there you go. I wouldn't recommend it personally, but what the heck. Julie, any foody thing compressed into the shape of a ball called a rissole? You can do, but we have other words for it as well. Okay, so it tends to mean meat. It tends to mean meat, but I have had potato rissoles, cheese rissoles, rice rissoles. Food's very, with food you get so much vocabulary, and that's one of the reasons I did this challenge. Was I was looking for the next challenge, and I thought, let's have a break from pictures and let's go into the definitions, because the definitions, as you could see, it's very varied. Okay, and food vocabulary has its own jargon, it has its own lingo, if you like, and you have to learn it in context. Okay, best way to learn lots of food vocabulary: go on a cookery course. Don't go on an English course. Once your English is good enough to follow instructions, go on a cookery course. You'll learn much more about food vocabulary then. Okay. So, Marco, yes, to drain, not strain. Well, you could strain it, I guess. To strain or to drain spaghetti. Don't forget spaghetti. Strange spelling, I know, but I think we took it from the Italian. Okay, so if anybody would like to come and join me for the last 10 minutes, if you raise your hands now, and you're more than welcome to come and join me. Have you got any questions about the challenge itself? Okay. Okay, April, I'm going to invite you in. Almost perfect spelling. Marco, when it comes to spelling, it's a little bit like pronunciation. As long as people understand you, it's all good. The only time it really matters is if you're writing something that other people are going to read that's important, like a business report or a book. And even then you can send it to the editors and they can fix any spelling mistakes for you. Or a business report or a test. If you're doing a test and exam, then yes, it matters. Otherwise, I understood what you meant. I'm only correcting you because that's what I'm here for. Okay, Julie. Okay. Let's call you into the call and see who turns up. So I'm going to stop screen sharing now. So I'll disappear for a second. See who's able to join me. April, hello. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Lynn. It works with this laptop.
Yay!
I was testing, Lynn, because last time with the other laptop with this connection cable, I couldn't enter voice. And I think, okay, I will try the other laptop. It's better. It's with i7. The other was i5. The processor.
Okay.
Yeah. So it is matter. Yeah? The connection cable, your computer,
the operating system.
the operating system. Yeah, it really do matter. All of those things. Yeah?
I think it does, yes. I mean, it's unfortunate that this software can't work on every single platform possible. As an attendee, yes, you can pretty much come and listen on practically anything. I've tried my tablet, my old tablet that runs an old version of Android. I've tried my mobile phone. I've tried my computer. And I've tried an old laptop that runs Windows 7, one that runs Windows 8, and my computer which runs Windows 10. So I know that it works on a variety. I've not tried any Apple or Linux stuff, but Aladdin's been in on Linux, so we know that it works across platforms. But when you want to present, then yes, you do need to have the right. You have to have the right connection, you have to have the right equipment, you have to have the right operating system as well. Abhishek's asked to join as well. So Abhishek, I'm going to add you and invite you as a speaker too. So Julie's not joined us yet. I'm hoping that she'll be able to. Julie, hello, nice to see you. Now your mic will be muted, Julie, so you'll need to switch it on, okay? Can you hear me, Julie? We can't hear you at the moment. Julie. So, April, did you have any questions about the challenge? Did you enjoy it? Was it fun? Was it better to have the pictures or?
Yeah, if the picture is too easy, I think, yeah, because then you don't have to sing anymore. You can sing. But I think I have to look at the dictionary for a couple of words. Not all of the words it's familiar to me actually. Like riser, I was thinking at first I think, oh, okay, that is must be someone, but then I was searching on internet and it wasn't.
It's a bit of a shock, yes. I know it is I honestly, it's the most stupid word, really, when you think about it logically. But English isn't logical. English is crazy. Somebody thought, oh, they look like little bits of rice. I'll call it a ricer. Thanks a lot for that. Why didn't you call it a potato or a squisher or a squasher? But that's when you'll never know every single word in English. What you need to do is look at the words that you use in your daily life, look at the words you use at work, the specialist vocabulary that you need to learn to do your job, and the rest of it, you just pick it up as you go along, depending on whether you're cooking, whether you're in what job you're working, who you interact with out in the world. It all develops your vocabulary. So, Julie, how come we can't hear you? Have you checked your...
Hi.
Oh,
Can you hear
hello!
me now? Hi. So you can hear me, right?
I can hear you now, yes. I think, and if I can hear you, it generally means everybody can hear you.
Yeah.
So that's good. So, Julie, I don't think you took the challenge, did you?
Yes, I have
You
taken
did?
the challenge.
Oh, good. Sorry, where are you then? Let me just see if I can find you. Hang on. I couldn't remember seeing your answers. Sorry about that. Let me go back. Let's see. Oh yeah, just before Hazel. That's right. Oh, that's right. You just wrote down the letters, which is fine. I did say you can just write down the letters. I think it was
Yeah,
only
that was
Hazel.
actually difficult for me, but I just searched from the internet and then I have answered all the questions because it was difficult for me.
Yeah, I
Only
think you only just got the one wrong, though. You did very well. And it wasn't specifically wrong, I'll be honest, because when you're looking at these words, now, which was it? Number 9, I think.
number 9,
Yeah.
faggot, I think.
Yeah,
Faggot.
which is the faggot. That's right. Some people do call like a bouquet garni a faggot. Faggot, like because you've got this idea of the faggot of wood being bound together. Some people do call it a faggot, but generally the standard term in the UK is that it's the meat risole. Yeah, a mixed meat risole including liver. So. Yeah, but quite a few wrote the B answer for that. So it's not strictly wrong. I would accept it as well, but it's an unusual use. It's non-standard English. Let's put it that way. Not my favourite non-standard English.
Okay.
So well done. And did you enjoy doing it? You
Yeah,
say
I
you like
enjoyed.
cooking, yeah?
Yeah. But these all words which here you have mentioned like ricer, dredger, Coddler, and Bain-Marie. I have not used those words actually.
But do you have similar equipment in your kitchen?
Yeah, sieve.
Yeah.
Sieve I had.
A sieve, yeah. A sieve. Not a
Yeah.
colander.
This like a sieve ricer. I think a type of sieve through which potato. Not this kind of sieve potatoes. We are not mashing potatoes in that. It's just to we use like flour, and we used to do like separating flour with like some other ingredients. So we use that kind of sieve. So it was not
Okay,
kind of the same.
do you mean flour?
Yeah, flour.
Flour. Yeah, you can say flour because if you say floor, it's the
Okay,
thing you stand on. Okay, flour. It's like flour and flower. They're
flour.
homophones, yeah? Like flour.
Okay, flour.
It,
Flour.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we use sieves for that too, and for getting the lumps out of flour and icing sugar, etc. April, you said you use a sieve as a dredger, yes?
Yes, everything I used for flour, for icing sugar, for example. I use that too. I have a small one, a mini one. It's only 10 centimeter of diameter. And I use that to make my tiramisu, to flour my tiramisu with chocolate.
Okay. Oh, sorry. That's when you have to say to dust.
To dust.
To
Okay, to
dust
dust.
it with chocolate, because to flour is literally to put it onto a board ready to prepare dough or a mixture. And when you're using it as a decoration, then we say dust. Dust it with chocolate or dust it with icing sugar. It's crazy English, isn't it?
And the one, which one was that? The Colander.
Colander.
Colander. The one you showed us, that is with quite big holes, but you have also one with kind of sheath, Lynn. Do you call it the same? Is that also a colander?
Sorry, you've got one with a kind of what?
Yeah, it is the same ball, but
Yeah.
not from metal. Yeah, it is from metal, but the bottom where the holes are there.
Can you screen share?
Oh, I haven't found any.
Oh, okay. I don't
It can be.
know.
I think it can be of any material, plastic or some
No,
other
it's
material.
metal. It's metal, Julie. But I mean, the one
It's
you
got a
showed us.
flat bottom.
No. Also like a
No.
ball, like
Uh-huh.
you show us. But the one where you can where you can drain the water
Uh-huh.
from another sort of. It's like a kind of sheath.
Can you type up a kind of? Because I'm not sure what you're trying to say. A kind
Sieve
of
of sieve.
sieve.
Yeah,
Okay. So it's more like a sieve. Well, it's
yeah,
probably a
yeah,
sieve
yeah,
then.
yeah. Yeah, but it's in the form of that kind of bowl.
Okay. Okay. Well, believe it or not, are you coming to the book reading session in Kitely in a bit, April?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to go to sea in a sieve.
Okay.
Okay, do you mean, I don't know, maybe no, that's a colander. But if it's a very fine mesh, then it's a sieve. And if it's very small holes, it's a colander. Okay, so there's a difference between mesh, which is made of wire, and metal that's had holes drilled into it. Okay,
You
so
call
if
it
it's
mess,
mesh,
MASS or
no,
MIS?
MESH, a mesh. Yeah.
MSH. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that one. I mean that one. Yes.
if it's a mesh made out of fine wires, I'd still call it a sieve. If it's a sheet of metal with holes drilled into it, I would call it a colander. Okay. And there are so many. I mean, I won't screen share because we haven't got time, and it takes me out of the call. There are so many different kinds of the same thing, because whenever you create something, of course, somebody will think, oh, well, it could be better if it was square or flat or round or smaller holes or bigger holes or holes that are pretty shapes because it looks nicer. It's just the one I showed you was an enamel colander, which was green with a cream inner. Of course, you get the stainless steel ones, and as Julie said, different materials. Doesn't matter, plastic, metal, ceramic. You know, they're still a colander, but their form and function is still the same. The material doesn't change the name of the item until it does.
But a
Okay,
colander
so.
has to be a bowl. Yeah.
Yes, generally, yes. It's a round shape. Otherwise, it's a drainer or a strainer. You've got different words: to drain, to strain, um, and colanders are for draining and for straining liquid. Okay.
And the steamer is also like that. Steamer.
But it's, a steamer. You can use a steamer as a colander. Oh, I need to drain this rice. I know, I'll use my steamer. But a steamer is for steaming, not actually for using it as a drainer. It's like the spatula. You're meant to use the spatula to clean out the bowl, but you can use a spatula to hit your husband over the head with. It's still a spatula. Okay.
Yeah, and in building term also, they call it also spatula. They use that, the builder.
Builders use spatulas. Don't think so. What do you mean, for putting plaster on walls?
Yes, putting plaster.
You can get a spatula in dental work. But no, you're right. Plaster spatula. What do I call it? I'm sure I don't call it a spatula. That's odd, isn't it? Yeah. No, you're right. If you're doing, I'm not a plasterer though, so I was like, do they? I know they use them in dental work, and I just call it a trowel. That's what I call it, a trowel. I call it a trowel, not a spatula. But you're right. I've just seen it, and some people call it, trowel, not towel, trowel. Okay. So, but some people, seem to call it a spatula or a plastering spatula. Oh, strange. And you can also use them in icing. If you ice cakes, you need a spatula to get a nice smooth surface. Oh, I had spelt it correctly, trowel. Okay, so on that note, unless there are any more questions, we will finish there. This will be replayed, so if you want to watch it again, and next week we'll have another challenge to discuss, which will start tomorrow. So don't forget, go to the forum, log into the groups, and you'll find it in the Join Us webinar group. And it'll be vocabulary challenge number 47. And this week it will be picture based. I know April just said it was a little easier, but it's not meant to be difficult. Okay. As I say, it's not a test. It's not an exam. It's just for fun. Okay. Any questions before I disappear and go and grab my coffee? April, you know about everything. Not everything, only some things, I think you meant to say. You're welcome, Shiny. Shiny, you didn't join us in the call today. Abhishek, I don't know what happened to you. I did invite you into the call. Send me a message in the forum if you're having any kind of technological problems, because we can try to help you sort them out. Best day for sorting out any techie problems at the moment is a Friday, because Aladdin's sessions haven't started yet. Of course, he can also help you with these things, getting you into calls, getting the voice to work. If you have a look at Friday's TGIF recording, you'll see that we've managed to get Shiny into the call and with voice working. And of course, having done that, she doesn't try to join us today. You're hungry. Go and have a faggot. Oh, no, don't. Very dubious meat. Okay, so I don't know of anything in today's session that would have made me hungry, to be honest, but there you go. I guess I need my coffee though, so I'm going to go make my coffee. Thanks for joining me, and thanks for coming and talking to me, April and Julie. You're very brave, and it worked. Yay! So April, next time use that laptop, okay? Okay, take care, everybody. I'll see you in Kitely in 20 minutes. All right. And as I say, we're going to see in a sieve. Ask me for a teleport, because we're in a slightly different area of the sim. I'll look forward to seeing you there. Take care. Bye.